Deluded people, yeah, deluded. I'm back again now. Obviously, quick little plug of that. But what was I gonna say now? Koscielny, 32, 33 years of age, contracted until 2020. We know he's been absent up until, well, I don't want to say up until anything because he's not returned yet, but he's been slowly integrated back into full training after a lengthy layoff with injury. Obviously, what was it, the last game of the season or second from last game or whenever it happened, cost him out his place in the World Cup. He obviously saw how distraught he looked when he was injured. But obviously he's about to return now, and this is on the face of where I don't want to say there's still question marks over the defence, but for me personally there is, because I know I'm happy as an Arsenal fan right now. In May or in December I might say something different, but I'm happy right now. It's not perfect. There's several things we can still improve upon, even when we've won or drawn like against Liverpool. But we're definitely in a better fashion than many of people thought we was going to be the first season, at least, post Arsene Wenger. I mean, all I asked at the start of the season was Unai Emery had a clear way of playing, players are believing in him, and a willingness to change his tactics, and I want to see a bit of in-game management and stuff like that. So I'm seeing all of these things and other things, so I'm cool. But I also think, I don't know if this one makes sense, I also feel that, Emery, obviously the double sessions and stuff like that, and I don't think it directly correlates, but when you see a couple of the injuries with the hamstrings and stuff like that, is it because of, it's not directly because of the double sessions, but is it the double training sessions with the tight schedule? Is that actually impacting our players? That's been playing on my mind. It's not enough to make a vid, and I think I'm reaching. But Koscielny's been playing on my mind in the sense that he's been a loyal servant. There was it's banter, and he was one of them defenders. When players have a bad game, they have a real bad game. You look at Portugal, obviously, he was made into a gift and a meme and all them things after losing the Euros and things like that. And he's come a long way from his early days with Szczesny in the Carling Cup final, whenever it was. He's come a long way. There was a moment in time, probably 3-4 years ago, maybe 3's a push. In fact, nah, man, 015, probably 016 it died. Probably 013, 14 the best. There was a time, there weren't many, like, you saw him linked with big clubs. He weren't the best centre-half around, but there weren't many teams he wouldn't have played in. When Arsenal were getting, especially in Europe, when we were getting destroyed, Koscielny was probably one of them where you was looking at, he might have been in the heart of defence and ultimately has to take responsibility, but it was him trying to mop up people's mess sort of thing. It weren't him playing rubbish. So I've had a lot of time for Koscielny. I rate him a lot, but I must admit, he doesn't need to prove anything to me in the sense that I'm not his manager and my opinion is irrelevant. But what I mean by he needs to prove that he's good enough to stay here is because I look at the centre-half situation. There's still question marks. I believe Socrates has been all right since he's come here, and he's well-deserved starting lineup. Obviously, he's been injured, so he's probably lost his place. But it remains to be seen if he can continue that. And if we're actually being honest, that Socrates is a better defender than I and a lot of people gave credit for. But if we're being honest, he wasn't the centre-half we wanted. He's given credit and he's been a good signing. And he's probably, if you want to be a top club, I honestly believe he should be third choice, pushing to start sort of thing. You have two top centre-halves, no disrespect to him. So, there's Socrates. Holding's come a long way. He's been in some good form. He's still naive in aspects, but what do you expect? He hasn't played that much. He's kind of been starved of football until late, and historically at Arsenal, more or less. So you've got Holding. Chambers is on loan, and it looks, I don't know how his future looks because he was talked up, he was loaned out, and he can't get a game for Fulham, essentially. Mustafi, I need to see a consistent level until May because I've seen him. I don't want to say he's been terrible this season because I only think the Crystal Palace game is the only thing I can say he was moving like a headless chicken. But I do think his form has been fluctuating in the sense that he does good stuff and then he moves nervous. He has until May before I obviously say that we need to get rid of him or things like that. And he's of late, credit where due on excluding the Palace thing, he came of age against Liverpool, to be honest with you, and he's got a good partnership with Holding going on. And Mavropanos has been starved of football and he's been injured as well. So I've said about however many names. Obviously, you've got a couple young players on loan. There's how many players that can play centre half. At the end of the day, it's only 2 positions, 3 if you're going to go 3 at the back. Obviously, you need about 4, maybe even 5 centre halves in your squad because of the games you play and things like that. But you get the point. Now, if I'm looking at Koscielny, he's contracted until 2020. If I'm honest with you, when Coquelin and Giroud signed a new deal, you could see that this was a bad thing because none of them really deserved a new deal sort of thing. He's on big wages. He might not be the highest earner, but he's on a comfortable wage. He's always talking. He actually spoke about leaving when Wenger left. He's always talking about returning to France. I don't know how Unai Emery clearly sees him as a captain or something like that, but you see reports that he's told him he can go. Yeah, Koscielny needs to prove to me. Well, obviously I've just said he doesn't, but to me, I need to see Koscielny prove that he's still at a level where he can play at this team, because my confidence in Koscielny, even Mustafi to a degree, since last season, it's been at the lowest. Like, I'm being honest with you, lot. In the same way I told you, lot, I made the vid when I said I've lost faith in Gabriel. I'm a man who, you guys know me, I stick behind Xhaka and still stick behind Xhaka. I don't feel he's faultless, but when he plays good, and I don't feel he's someone that's as terrible as people make out. So you guys know, I stick with players in it if I genuinely believe they're good and they can have a use. I stick with them, but everyone's got a point, and Koscielny lost me last season. Obviously last season was a long time ago. My memory isn't as vivid as it is, but you look at the Old Trafford game, not Old Trafford, United at home and West Ham at home. Arnautovic bullied him. For me, Koscielny needs to also change the way he plays. I've said this in a video before. Koscielny's an aggressive centre-half. He's my sort of centre-half, but he needs to take a leaf out of John Terry's book and realise, okay, I'm getting old a bit. Let me drop my ego a bit and change my game. I said that Koscielny, if he does return and is in the first team, starting in that, he needs to be the Mertesacker to which was once his he needs to be the Mertesacker to the Koscielny to which he had that. What I mean by that, he's got to be the calming influence. Of course he can still be aggressive, but you need to be easy. But what was I saying before I started waffling about that point is, my confidence in the man is probably at its lowest that I've ever seen, because West Ham at home specifically, I believe we won 4-1, and if I remember, I should remember because I was there. Arnautovic, who is a better player than people give him credit for, is one of them players, if you take them in live, they're a bit better. Terrorised him, weighted him, stressed him out. Not just him, but stressed him out. And then you look at United at home. We're looking for our experience last season. We're looking at our experienced players to start the thing. He's playing poor passes like Mustafi did, and it's leading to goals. I feel he's dropped off the pace a bit. He's not as strong as he used to be. He's getting caught. The pace isn't there quite. I want to see him do well and things like that, but he's got to prove it. I've got to see him play this season and play a decent part, because if not, I want him gone next season. Koscielny's been a loyal serviceman and them things to our club, and he'll have a year left if he is here if he does start next season, 2019-2020, he's contracted until 2020, so he'll be allowed to go, and then maybe if he wants to go to France, which he's spoken about, if he wants to play in USA, which could be a good adventure for his family, if he wants to tie down his grandchildren, he could look to go to China. There's several things. I look at it as that all of the things I've said, people, if my confidence in a man isn't that high, and I look at Arsenal and we know we do this financial constriction stuff, 1 minute there's money, then there's not, you're looking at Koscielny as one that needs to move on, because sadly we're not a retirement home. We're not. He's been loyal. He could have left and joined bigger clubs, but it is what it is at this point. Like, I just feel in the air, his marking, his recovery tackles, even he's a front-footed centre-half in that he wants to be the aggressor. He's getting caught out at that. Things that you attribute with Koscielny, I just really... Obviously, he's getting older and things like that, but it's just, yeah, he's just falling off for me. I'd love to be proved wrong. I'm still going to support him if he plays, as I will do with every player, and I'm not advocating him to play poorly. I just feel if I was Unai Emery, then I'm going to be honest, unless injuries or something happens or a change of mind, then Koscielny's not going to really feature into my plans, to be honest with you, unless you see Mustafi do some stupidness or Socrates injuries continue, or we see some madness. I would still use him in the squad to make an appearance, but on a Saturday, Sunday, all week when I'm training and I'm looking at the weekend for the games, I'm not looking at him. Currently in my head, people, I know he's been injured, but it's actually Socrates and Holding. Credit to Mustafi because of the Liverpool performance, but it would probably be the first two names I said that would be starting for me week in, week out, unless one gets destroyed and plays poorly, to which you'll see someone else coming to the side. But yeah, man, I know Koscielny's been in training a bit, and as you would expect, even though he's been in full training for a minute, he ain't played for the under-23s or been on the bench and things like that. And I advocate that. Take your time. He's at an age, obviously, when you get older, naturally in life, when you get older, it takes you longer to recover from certain things. Like, it's a completely poor example, but when you're 18 and you go out, you can go out and party until mad hours of the morning, and then you've got a match at 9 a.m. You wake up at 8:30, have a quick shower, your boy scoops you in your car, you go down to Jubilee Park or so, and you play a worldie. I know this because it was me. Now, if I tried that at 23 or if I tried that at 22, I'm not going to wake up because I'm getting older. Now, some of you are my OGs and older than me that view my thing. So I'm sure you lot with more life experience know what I'm getting at. So obviously, he's got I see him doing yoga and things like that, and that's very good. He's spoken about that previously. He's got to change the way he's playing. Injuries, it takes the recovery time is going to be longer. So I don't blame him because he's at the final years of his career where you want to ideally be able to play as many games as you can at some capacity, maximize your earnings and all of these sort of things. So I get it, if he's taking time with his injury and things like that. And to be honest, a part of me, because he's been in full training to my knowledge for a couple of weeks now, it appears that the injury, while it might have physically healed, it's the dangerous one is when it's mentally there. Like I've had a minor injury when I've told you lot before, I was playing in the school hall, when the bad breed kids used to play football at school. We used to have some I was about to say special needs, it ain't no special needs, some behavioural thing where they used to play football in the hall. My boy came to tackle me as I shot, and he basically sliced my ankle, not sliced my ankle like it was like sliced and bleeding, but he's tackled me. Fair challenge. You know them ones you kick the ball and then he comes. He's done that now. My ankle is swollen. I'm on crutches. Long story short, it's healed several weeks later or so. It's healed, but I remember going to training for Nuzman. I'm hesitant. Like, the ball's coming to me. I'm hesitant to kick it. Like, I don't want to do it because it's psychological. You're scared that the mad thing's going to happen again, or you don't know what's going to happen. So if it's a thing like that, I fully get it and understand it, because that happened. Football is way more psychological than people think, whether it's injuries we don't necessarily know about, injuries, strikers not scoring, defenders playing poorly. Football's very psychological, man. Football's a fickle game. Football's a simple game. It's just 22 players on a football pitch trying to put the ball into the back of either's net within the time duration. It's a simple game. It's just people like to overcomplicate it. The hardest thing in life, I'm going off topic now, but the hardest thing in life specific to football is to play simple football. Football is simple, but it's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing. You picture yourself on a football pitch. Every decision should be A and B. If someone's in a better goal-scoring position, pass it to them and they should score. Many a times you don't see that. Somebody doesn't, somebody shoots and it goes over. Football's a simple game. I can't even play chess, but it's a game of chess, essentially, people. Yeah, I swear checkers is a more simpler game. It's a game of Connect 4, man. I don't know them board games like that, but it's a game of Connect 4. It's the most simplest game I can think of. Either way, away from that poor example, you get the point. So on that note, people, deluded, God bless. Thank you very much for viewing. Comment, subscribe, like and share it up. My socials are in the description and they should be at the end of this video if I have been bothered to edit this video or if I've just released the raw footage. Anyways, it'll be Deluded Gooner on Deluded Gooner 04 on Twitter, Deluded Gooner on everything including Facebook, DGooner 04 on Snapchat, however. So yeah, people, stay safe, man. I'm out.